Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great little project for you today. Let's take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this fun? We're calling this floating hexes. We've taken our regular hexagon, flipped it on its side and put it together. It just makes a darling little quilt. This is one of those quick, easy projects if you need something fast. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is 2 packs of 5-inch squares, and we have used Mojito by Another Point of View for Wyndham, which is just really a fun, happy line. You're going to need 2 yards of your background fabric, and that's going to take care of all of this sashing and all that stuff. You're going to need 1.5 yards for your outer border. We put a 5.5-inch border on here, and you're also going to need 1/4 yard for these little tiny cornerstones in there. So let me show you how to do this. This is just such a fun and easy quilt. So to make this quilt, what you're going to do is you're going to take some of your background fabric and cut them into 5-inch squares. And you're going to match up a solid, or your solid square here with your print square. Put those right sides together. Then what we're going to do is we are going to take our half hexie template. This pattern uses the half hexie template. And honestly, you know, these templates, they're great for one thing, but if you can use them for more things, then they become valuable tools. And I love this shape. I use it all the time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut our half hexies out of these 2 squares. And I like to lay mine on the ruler like this so that the long part is in the middle. And you can actually fold this in half if you want to. Either way works. I'm just going to do it this way. Make sure I got that little corner. So there's 2. Now I'm going to cut the other 2 out of this side, just like this. Now you'll notice that your little hexie tool actually extends a little bit beyond the edge of your square, and that's totally okay. You know, all those squares, you'd think 5 inches is 5 inches, but everybody's a little bit different. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to separate out the white ones, your background fabric. I'm going to line those up right here, and I'm going to put them back in between the marks on my ruler, the 5-inch marks, because we used a 5-inch square, and we're going to go cut those right in half. So you're going to come over here, put your little point is going to be on your 2.5-inch mark, and you're going to cut those right in half, just like this. Now here's the way we do this that's so cool. So these half hexies are now going to outline this square, and we are just going to put them on here like this. So this is going to make our edges like this. We're going to do it to both pieces of our hexie, just like that. And so we need to go over the sewing machine and sew these. But before we do that, I want to show you that when you lay these on here, and because these look really odd when you're laying them, they look kind of backward, you want to make sure and lay them out first and then just fold them over like this so they go on there right, because they look kind of weird. So these straight edges on our half hexie right here, these don't match up with anything. So don't make yourself crazy trying to match those up. What you want to do is you want to lay this on here as close to fitting as you can. You're going to notice you're going to have a little bit of color peeking out here and a little bit of white hanging over here, but you're mostly going to line up this line, sew 1/4 inch. So let's go do that to our pieces. I'm going to take both these pieces over here to the sewing machine, and we're just going to line these up right here and sew 1/4 inch. And we're going to do this to both sides of our hexie. And again, I'm just gonna kind of finger press this out. I'm really angly challenged, so I have to make sure that I get these going the right direction, because I'd rather sew than pick. So we're gonna line these up again. Sew them on here. I can't even tell you how many of these I've had to pick out, not particularly on this quilt, but you know, when I do them regularly, because I get it all turned around in my head. It seems like it's going to work just great, and then it's like backwards. That's all right. Part of my journey. Get better and better all the time. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Fold it back. There we go. See, I almost set that one on there right upside down. All right. Now let's go to the ironing board and press these back. And I'm just going to roll these back so that they, you know, they stay on the fabric here. And I have something to show you. All right. So right here, I want you to look at this. So this one is a little bit off right here. Now, I don't worry about this unless it's more than 1/4 inch and I'm not going to be able to catch it in that seam. When I go to put these together right here, this little bit right here, I'm going to catch that in that seam. And so I just line those up and I'm just going to be able to sew straight across there, and it's not going to even matter. You want to, if you're off more than 1/4 inch, you'll want to redo that. But if not, don't die over it. It's going to go right in that seam and it's just going to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these two together to make our block. And we're going to iron this open. And they're so cute. All right, so here's our little hexie block. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off right here so it's nice and straight. So look at this. This is your cute little block right here. So now I want to show you how this works in here. We have taken these and turned them on end. Now most of the time you think of a hexie block this way. We're turning it this way. We're going to line them up here. There's 9 across by 9 down. Because it's longer than it is wide, it's going to make, you don't have to change your row size. It's just 9 by 9. And in between each of these, we've put a little 1.5 inch sashing. So let me show you how that's going to work. So I have some blocks here that are finished. And what I did was I went ahead and sewed a sashing row right to the block. So I just did that to every block, just like this. I'm going to lay that sashing row on there, and I'm going to stitch it down, and then I'll start laying them out to see how they go. So you're going to put them together a nice row just like this. And mine right here, all of these are yellow. I would not do that. I would mix those yellows up so that they're all over the place and make sure that you have all your colors mixed up. When you get your rose sash like this, remember 9 in a row with your little strips in between. Then you're going to sew together your long sashing row with your 1.5 inch cornerstones. So these, you're going to take that 1/4 yard of fabric, and what I do is I just cut a 1.5 inch strip of fabric, subcut those into 1.5 inch squares right here. So you get these little squares. You're going to measure the end of your block right here, and you're going to sew those on like that. And that little guy is going to go right in between there, just like that. And let me show you where this is on here. So this row right here is one long sashing strip, just like this, just one long sashing strip. So as you start to put your rows together, it's just going to go together so cute. This is such a darling little fast quilt. We've really enjoyed making it, love the fabric line, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the floating hexies from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.